All right, we're doing proper setup for a mobile pressure cleaner unit. We have gasoline and diesel. Your gasoline is your red, your diesel is your clear. They're indicated on both caps. You'll open your caps, you'll check your fluid level. And make sure you screw them back on tightly when you're done. The next step we're going to do is you're going to check your water hose. Put on your water hose. You're going to come over here. You have a gasket on your water hose. First thing you do is you check your gasket. There's a gasket in there. It's not ripped, it's not torn, it's all together. You have a water source right here. You check your water source. You make sure you have water pressure, good water pressure. You're going to go ahead and tighten the water hose. Grab your other end of the water hose. Bring it over to your machine. Stretching out your hose. Make sure there's no kinks or nothing in your hose. You straighten it out. And you're going to attach it to your water tank here. Now, you have another gasket inside of your water tank here that has a filter on it. Has a screen. You want to make sure your screen is clear, and you're going to put it in place, which it should already be there. And then you're going to attach your garden hose. Go back to your water source and turn on your water. Now, to check to make sure you have water pressure, you can push down on your float and it will fill up. You let it go, the water stops. You know your float is working and you have water pressure. Next, we're going to attach our pressure cleaner hose. Now, your pressure cleaner hoses are all labeled different PSIs. This one here, stamped right on it, is good for 4,000 PSI max. So what you're going to do before you put on your pressure cleaner hose, you're going to check your O-ring inside. Now your O-ring inside, what you're looking for is it to be cut or chafed in any way, or any kind of stuff laying in there. If it's bad, you'll change your O-ring. There's two different size O-rings. Okay, you have a small one and you have a big one. This one's small, this one's big. The smaller one only goes in the tip of the gun, in this part of the gun. The large one goes in your pressure cleaner hoses, in here.
Point with the pick where the O-ring is in there.
In here?
It's way in there.
Your O-ring sits right here.
Okay.
Now, to attach the hose, you bring it here, and you're going to have your fitting here. Pull back, pop it in place, and make sure it clicks and locks. Pull on the hose, make sure it's clicked and locked in place.
Put the hose guard back up.
You're supposed to have those off of there. Alright, now your other end is a male end. This goes to your pressure cleaner gun. Now with these units, the only gun you use are these style guns, not the chrome low pressure guns. This is the only one. Now again, this end has the same O-ring in here, a large one. And again, you're checking it for the same thing. No rips, no tears, no wear and tear. And you're going to go ahead and pull it, snap it in, and lock it in place. Again, turn it, pull it, make sure everything's working. Alright, now before we turn on our mobile pressure cleaner unit, we're going to check for anything leaking or any obvious things in the way. Okay, we have no leaks under here. We're looking at our hoses, making sure nothing's going to rub or chafe on anything hot or sharp. Everything has hose or covers on the wires. Everything looks good. If you come around here to the side, you have the front of the machine here. This is your key switch. This is your heater. Okay, so we're looking to make sure nothing's dripping any fluids, nothing's chafing, no hoses. If you come around to the back side here, we have our muffler. This gets extremely hot. You want to make sure there's no hoses or anything in the way. and this shoots hot air out. And it shoots this way. You want to make sure you have nothing around here. Making sure your hose isn't there. There's not another pressure cleaner here. No gas cans, anything flammable or anything that can sit here and get hot. Buckets, anything. So we're all clear here. Again, we're looking at every single hose. Just touch it, make sure it's not going to wiggle or make its way over to the hot area. And everything's tight on this one. Everything's in a good position, so we'll be able to start our pressure cleaner. Soap injection. If you're using soap on the job you're working on, you have your soap pickup here. You have a pickup on the bottom with the screen. You want to make sure your screen's intact and that all this is tight on there firmly, and you have your soap bucket. You're going to want to drop this down into the bottom of your soap bucket and make sure it's on the bottom at all times so that it doesn't pick up any air. Okay, you have a dial here. On your pressure cleaner, you're going to have a marking. And what you'll do is if you want soap, you're going to turn your dial to your marking. If you don't want soap, you'll leave it in the off position, which is tight all the way to the right side. One important thing when you're using the soap or chemical injection, what you're going to want to do is make sure you keep an eye on your level at all times. Because if you get low on here and you begin to suck air, your pressure cleaner will not function correctly and you can cause damage to the pressure cleaner pump itself. Another important thing before you start a pressure cleaner is identifying what pressure cleaner you're working with. Now, here on the pressure cleaner plate, you have the unit here. You have a 4,000 PSI unit. Okay? Also here, we have a label, which is 4 gallons per minute. This is a 4 gallon per minute machine at 4,000 PSI. And that will help you decide what tip you're going to use when you're pressure cleaning with what unit you're using. Now that we've identified we're using our 4,000 PSI machine, we need to identify what tip we're going to use. Now, on the head of the tip itself, you have numbers here. I don't know if you're able to see them on the camera, but if you look here on this piece of paper, it shows the exact location of the numbers and what they mean. You have the degree of angle is the first 2 numbers, and the last 2 is the gallons per minute. This machine being a 4,000 PSI machine, I'm going to use a 4.0 tip, which is going to be located on the neck, the last 2 numbers, the gallons per minute, 4.0. It'll be 40. So now we're going to take our tip and we're going to put it on our pressure cleaner gun. Again, there is a small O-ring inside the head of the gun. It is the smaller O-ring in the set of O-rings. You want to check that for the same thing as the others. No chafing, no cuts, no marks, no wear and tear. You'll pull back, you'll insert your tip, and you'll lock it in position, making sure that it's locked. Cleaning jobs, you're going to be using a valve similar to this one. You have a pressure cleaner, female and male end on this side. And another thing, if you're going to be using this, again, you want to check your O-ring here for the same thing you're checking your other ones, cuts, tear, anything like that. And you're going to put that right on the end of your pressure cleaner. And it will be looking like that. Your handle for your valve, this is always closed. Open is this direction with the flow of water. So when you're not using or when your pressure cleaner is off, you always want to make sure you leave it in the closed position. We're ready to start up our pressure cleaner. Now, on the side here, you have a lever. You're going to want to pull this out. This is your choke. You have your key switch here. You will then turn your key switch and you're going to spin the motor over. Now that you're running, you're going to turn your choke back off. This here on your pressure cleaner is called your unloader. This here regulates your pressure on it to increase or decrease pressure. This you do not want to mess with. They are set where they need to be set, and that's where they need to be left alone to. Now we're going to do a test with this gun and the machine to make sure we're at the working pressure for what we're doing here today. Open up my ball valve, making sure all my fittings first are all tight and everything is good. Open it up. Look right here, we have a gauge. That is running pressure, 3,600 PSI. We'll then release the gun, and it'll bring where the machine belongs to sit. Hit the pressure again, it'll come back to 36,000. That's 3600 PSI. With that 4.0 tip on here, we had 3600 PSI. We're going to go ahead and switch our tip now. This one is a 5.5 tip. So what that's going to do is it's going to lower our working pressure from the job we're doing. Go to the gauge here, you'll see. And now we're at 2500 PSI. With a different tip style. Before you change your tip on your gun, while the machine is running, you always want to make sure you have your ball valve off and you release the pressure, making sure there's no pressure in the gun. Because then you cannot accidentally hit the trigger and say hit yourself in the face or your hand. And then you'll change your tip. And then when you want to go back to work, you open up your handle and then you have pressure again. Okay, now on applications when you're using this machine and you're going to want to use your heater, what you have here is your on-off switch for your heater. Okay, that is your heater on, a red light indicating your heater is on. No red light means the heater is off. Okay, so this here is your heater dial. You have cool all the way to hot, and you'll spin that knob this direction, turning to what heat that is that you want for your job. There's markings here on the side, and then when you're not using your heater, no, we'll cut that out. Before you use your heater, this here is the exhaust for your heater. This is very, very hot. You want to make sure nothing is sitting on top of here, and you want to make sure there's nothing above you that can get harmed or catch on fire or hurt somebody else. You want to make sure you're in an open area, there's no overhang, no tent, no hoses, no shelving, no nothing put on top of this here. Again, this is very, very hot. Remember, when you use the heat or when you're using the pressure cleaner in general, is when you're using your heater and you're inside the tank or your bilge space and you're done or you're getting close to being done, you want to tell whoever is outside or responsible for the pressure cleaner to turn off the heater first, turn your dial back to off, turn your switch back to off, and run the pressure cleaner to get all the hot water out of the system and all the hot water out of the line so that it cannot harm the pressure cleaner itself. While you're working and you set your gun down, you want to make sure that every 2 to 3 minutes you open either the ball valve or spray the gun so that you are not having constant pressure built up in the pump, because it can cause damage to the pressure cleaner pump itself. Okay, now when you're done at the end of the day and your pressure cleaner is off, you might still have pressure inside your line. In this case, we do. Now, a very important thing to do is to release the pressure in your pressure cleaner at the end of every day or any time you're turning off the machine and walking away from your gun. You then want to turn off your ball valve to make sure that no water can leak into the boat or bilge space or on the dock, wherever you're at, whatever your situation is, and leave it like that. Now at the end of the day, you also want to always make sure you check your gasoline tank and your diesel tank for your levels. You might not be coming back to the job the next day, so you want to make sure you know where they're at so you can tell the other people, or that you can bring gas or diesel if you need it.